Broncos country, our 1-0 Denver Broncos are headed on the road to take on the 1-0 Indianapolis Colts. It's an AFC big-time matchup. May have repercussions down the line. We're going to be talking about this game as the two undefeated teams go off against each other this Sunday. Let's get started. Oh, I don't know, right about now. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. My name is Keith Brugman. I'm not alone. I got my good friend right over there. His name is Trevor Salzman. I'll talk to him in just a second as we get ready to talk about this Denver Broncos team. 1-0. We're 17-0 until we're not, Trevor. 1-0 and we're taking on this Indianapolis Colts team, a team that, laid a licking on the Miami Dolphins, a team that I think it's okay if any team beats up on the Miami Dolphins after the last time we met up. Trevor, it's a Friday night, man. Can't wait to get this started. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We are previewing the 1-0 Denver Broncos as they head on the road for the first time.
Absolutely, Keith. And I mean, it's coming off of honestly two different situations. Obviously with the Colts, they beat up on the Miami Dolphins, as you just alluded to it. Daniel Jones looks like he could be truly an NFL starter. Game one, week one of the regular season. Again, it's hard to take away too much from week one. All 32 teams, everybody's starting to knock the rust off. So got to see how everything plays out. But and then for the Broncos situation, I mean, struggles on offense, but defense played really well. So kind of interesting matchup in week two already of the regular season. We shall see which team comes out on top.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to break down, man. It's an interesting matchup. I went back. I watched the I watched the condensed version of the game, Colts versus the Dolphins, just to get a feel for what they're doing and what they look like this year. I'll tell you what, the Shane Steichen team looks different than what we saw last year. This Daniel Jones-led offense looks different than what we saw last year. They came out with a little bit of swagger. And maybe the swagger came because they, barely ever, I don't think they ever punted. They never punted in the entire game, Trevor. They tried once, and then, the Miami Dolphins ran into the punter, giving them a first down, and then they end up turning that into points. Speaking of points, man, Karen's coming in here this evening on point on YouTube, coming in and saying good evening. And Pearl's coming in as well, saying hello to everybody. It's a ladies' night. It's a Friday night. It's a ladies' night, man. We were singing a different song a little bit earlier before we went on the podcast, so maybe it's a ladies' night. Oh, it's a ladies' night. No, Trevor, it's going to be interesting to break down this game. And I see that, I'll be honest, see you're having issues. Give me a thumbs up when you think you're all ready to go, my friend, if you're having issues in the background. This Shane Steichen team, like I said, comes out, Daniel Jones. Now, don't get me wrong. The Miami Dolphins gave them a couple of turnovers. But this is what worries me, Trevor. The Denver Broncos didn't play mistake-free football last week either. We can't afford that. And you certainly can't afford to be down like the Miami Dolphins were and then all of a sudden trying to catch up and playing that particular type of game as well. So hopefully you're all good, my friend. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. First and foremost, Daniel Jones. 22 of 29, 272 yards. He throws a touchdown. He punches a couple more across the goal line as well. He was also their third leading rusher with 26 yards. So Daniel Jones, what a coming out party as he finds a new venue with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, absolutely, Keith. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
All set to go, buddy.
All right. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though, too, Keith. The Broncos had plenty of mistakes last weekend, plenty of turnovers. I think Bronocs trying to do too much. But most importantly, Keith, this Indianapolis Colts team and Shane Steichen being their head coach, they're very disciplined. They're a lot more disciplined than a Tennessee Titans team that just had the number one overall pick, Cam Ward, have all the hype around him, and they're still a young team. They're still learning how to win. This Colts team has been in playoff games before, and they've definitely been on that kind of that pedestal of about ready to make the playoffs the last couple of years. So this is a team very much so ready to win now. It's why you've seen them go out there and go get a guy like Daniel Jones, sign him as a free agent, and he is our starting quarterback. Have had issues in the past with Anthony Richardson turning the football over and being a little wild. Now Steichen has his guy in Daniel Jones. We shall see how that happens this year and what everything goes down. But this looks like a Colts team that is a team that could be playoff bound. I mean, you look at a guy like Tyler Warren, who they just took in the draft. Looks like he's emerging as a real possible elite tight end down the road. Michael Pittman Jr. looks like a guy that's kind of rejuvenated his career a little bit. So, and then of course Jonathan Taylor, who has hurt the Broncos in the past. That's just a team that they have weapons. They just needed a quarterback to get them the ball. I think they have that with Daniel Jones.
So I got a question for you, and I think bear with me. I'll come full circle, but I need your answer on two teams.
Mm-hmm.
I need your answer on the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins in regards to their defense. Way too early. We're only got a week 1 sample. How would you rate the Denver Broncos defense 1 through 32 versus the Miami Dolphins 1 through 32? And it's okay if you give me a range. I'm not looking for an exact number, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the Broncos defensive unit's a top 10 unit. I think if they get Drake Greenlaw back and they can stay healthy, it's a possible top 5 unit. I think that Drake Greenlaw is that important to this team and very critical to this Broncos defense, and that's why you're seeing them not rush him back with that quad injury that's been nagging him for a while now, since pretty much he's signed with Denver. But I would say Denver's at the very least our top 10 unit once again this season, but definitely have the upside to be a top 5 unit. The Colts.
No, Colts, not Colts. Dolphins.
Oh, the Dolphins. Okay, the Dolphins. Dolphins, they've always been a kind of a mid-tier defense. I mean, their offense is really what's been explosive. That's been a top 10 unit. You have your head coach, Mike McDaniel, that's been that, quote-unquote elite offensive play caller for you. Unfortunately, it seems like this season and then last season with Tua being injured has really kind of dampered the Mike McDaniel era so far. So I think the Dolphins, I'd say they're at the very least probably a mid-tier. I should say very most. I think they're probably 15th as far from a defensive rankings from 1 to 32. So kind of middle road.
In that 10 to 20 range then maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're saying top 10 for the Broncos, 10 to 20 for the Miami Dolphins, they may not be tickling quite the bottom tier. This is why I asked, man. Mm-hmm. I went back and I watched that tape. And Daniel Jones sat in some of the prettiest pockets I've seen in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Quite some time. I mean, like, I can't remember watching a game last year where Bo Nix or obviously the opposing team sat in prettier pockets than what I saw from Daniel Jones last week versus the Indianapolis Colts. And on top of it, their run game wasn't horrible. It could use some help and some improvements. It wasn't solid. Neither was the Denver Broncos run blocking game. But, this offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts, how big of a problem do you think it's going to give this Denver Broncos top 10, possibly top 5 defense that you just called out?
I think it'll give them some trouble. I mean, I think this is a better offensive. I'm not talking about offensive line unit wise. I think they're a better unit than the Tennessee Titans. You look at first and foremost Quentin Nelson. That guy's a stud in himself. probably their best all-around offensive lineman from a run blocking and a pass blocking standpoint. Braden Smith, as far as their right tackle, I mean, I think that he's very solid on that side of the ball. I mean, they lost a couple offensive linemen in free agency, Keith. So their offensive line, this is what I'm talking about. Week 1 hype. I don't want to overvalue them right now. I want to give them some time because I don't think that they're as good of a unit as they were against the Dolphins. And Daniel Jones talking about those pockets that he had and time to throw. I think against tougher defenses, blitz heavy defenses, I think that you're going to see opposing defenses get after Daniel Jones and really put this offensive line, and really test him, I should say. So I think they'll give him some trouble, but I can't see any reason why the Broncos can't get after Daniel Jones in this game and really be able to win matchups up front.
The other thing that we got to take into account, Daniel Jones can run the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't get all the way to the end zone even if he's free and clear, but he can run the ball. I got to say hello to a few more posse members because it's just not a ladies' night anymore with Pearl and Karen coming in here rocking it early over on YouTube. Got Roy Osborne coming in saying, hey there, guys. This is going to be a close game. I don't see a huge improvement on the offense. And then, switching from posse members to horsemen, we'll talk about Mr. Jody the Judge Moncrief coming in. He says this needs to be a get-right game for Mr. Bo Nix. Mr. Victor coming in and says Daniel Jones getting sacked 4 times. Why? Because Josie Jules not on the team. Always a fan of Josie Jewell, man. I'd like to get a Victor Josie Jewell fan meetup opportunity. I think that'd be fantastic, Victor. Tell me if you're interested. Just let me know. Maybe we could set it up somehow. Patrick Wiltsey coming in here saying, aloha. Here's to a possible 2-0. Coffee cheers. What did he say? Huzzah?
Huzzah.
Huzzah?
Yeah.
Not familiar with the term, but I like those coffee emojis, and I love my coconut roast. I've been tipping back every single morning, man, getting me going to start the day. Busy days. Clayton coming in here saying, hey guys, and always reminding me, smash that like and share button. Don't say it enough. I don't say it enough, man. We appreciate it. It makes a huge difference every time that you can put an emoji up of any kind. Put the angry emoji up, Victor, since I tried to get a meet and greet set up with Josie Jewell with you. It's okay, man. I appreciate it. And if you could share, if you could subscribe to this channel, man, it means so much, man. A lot of people tune in and they make sure that they're always watching, even over on YouTube, but don't always hit that subscribe button. It's like a 60% people overall watchers versus actual subscribers. So if you're over there on YouTube, make sure that you're taking care of things, hitting that subscribe button. Great way to top off Friday. Thanks, guys. Waking up at 4:45 a.m. to go work out. I did this. I did it this week, guys. Clayton, like I said, man, so proud of you, man. I know I saw you over there on Facebook. Saying, hey, I'm going to get back at it. Go hitting that gym, man. 4:45, wake up, going out there, getting after it. Love it, buddy. Love it. And now for the posse, I guess, a little bit. We'll get back to what we need to talk about, this Broncos-Colts matchup, buddy.
Well, and Keith, and again, we appreciate all the posse members. That we just absolutely love every single one of you guys. And just it's a pleasure to be able to cover this team for you guys and talk Broncos. But Keith, here's the thing, I think, for me, when it comes to the Colts offense, though, we talk about Daniel Jones and the quarterback. He gets a lot of love, and rightfully so. Last week, he had a solid week for the Colts, and I think at the very least, the Colts are wanting is a solid quarterback play from Daniel Jones because of how poor Anthony Richardson has been for this team. It's clear the reason why they chose Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson. But for me, Keith, it starts first and foremost with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, this is the importance of a really good run game. Daniel Jones never had that other than Saquon Barkley when he's with the Giants. I mean, so yes, he had some issues with the Giants, held on to the football too long. Maybe, the arm talent isn't elite, but he also didn't really have a lot to back him up with. Now with the Colts, he has an elite running back like Jonathan Taylor, especially if he can stay healthy. This is a guy that is a walking 1,200-yard running back. multiple touchdown kind of a running back. I mean, last year, let me remind you exactly what Jonathan Taylor did to the Denver Broncos last season. 22 carries, 107 yards on the ground against the Denver Broncos. And oh, by the way, if he didn't drop that ball before it gets in the end zone, we may be talking about a Denver Bronco team that may miss out on the playoffs. That was a pretty big drop in the game, and a kind of silly play by Jonathan Taylor. If he holds on to the ball, the Colts are leading in that game, and it might be a different ball game for the Denver Broncos, and they may end up in that game taking the L. So for me, Keith, it starts with Jonathan Taylor. This is why this Denver Broncos defensive line up front is going to get tested, and they're going to get tested early. Have to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor and make Daniel Jones beat you.
You're absolutely right, man. Jonathan Taylor is an issue, is a problem. We're once again going to be without Dre Greenlaw. I guess we could talk a little bit about injuries. So Dre Greenlaw's not going to be able to make it. But he wasn't alone on the injury report, as a few guys worked through injuries this week. Luckily, most of them are going to be all set to go. But a couple of them are going to be ruled out. What's the other one, Trevor?
Nate Atkins is also ruled out in this game, Keith, which is expected. I mean, Sean Payton has already kind of alluded to that, before even week one happened. And then also, but the biggest one, Keith, I think, is Evan Ingram. He's going to play. The calf injury that he sustained last week. I mean, we talk about Evan Ingram. We talk about injuries with him. You've got to connect the dots there. He's had an injury history in the past. Same thing with Dre Greenlaw. But it's going to be huge, I think, for Bronocs in this game to be able to have Evan Ingram out there. But you got to worry week to week. For me, at least, I'm worried week to week about Evan Ingram and that calf. Those calf injuries usually don't just stick around 1 week. Usually they're nagging injuries throughout the season. So, but I think it's a huge for Evan Ingram to be out on the field. His presence alone in that tight end room, Keith, is going to be helpful for Bronocs and be able to give him another weapon, another target. Which again, last week, Bronocs was looking Evan Ingram's way quite a bit. I mean, he loves Cortland Sutton, loves throwing the ball to Cortland Sutton. But I think Evan Ingram secretly is going to still be, if healthy, is going to be a guy that Bronocs looks at a lot. And so hopefully he ends up staying healthy. I think it's huge that he'll be able to play in this game, first and foremost.
Alex Singleton also worked through some injuries. John Franklin Myers worked through some injuries. There was one more, and all of a sudden I'm blanking. That was on my list, but I can take a look if I need to. But like you said, all in all, Evan Ingram, that's the guy you just got done talking about. I'm sorry, but is going to be ready to go and ready to play. I want to stay on this defensive side of things for the Denver Broncos. Because and the offensive matchup that it comes with the Indianapolis Colts as well, because I was thinking back as I was watching this game, as we all were kind of drooling at the very beginning of the draft process, not knowing that we'd get an Evan Ingram, about Tyler Warren. In fact, if Michael Ronquillo is out there, I know he'll come in and drop a little bit of nuggets on Tyler Warren. He was a big Tyler Warren fan as well. A lot of people, before Evan Ingram came into our realm, were all about Tyler Warren, and he went out and proved it. Mm-hmm. He went out and proved it as an Indianapolis Colt. 7 catches, 76 yards, 10.9 average, juking guys out of tackles, making them spill over the top of each other, turning it upfield, getting tough yards, making catches where it's one of those, Daniel Jones, man, you didn't put that in the best position for your tight end there, man. Took a lick on that one, holds onto the ball, comes down with it. I mean, like literally, if everything that you could possibly want out of a rookie debut at tight end, Tyler Warren, for the most part, delivered, man. I didn't see many errors out there and a whole lot of production, man. It's another piece, as we just got done talking about Alex Singleton working through an injury this week, Dre Greenlaw not being out there. Justin Sternad stepped up very, very, very well, I thought, in week one, but a bigger test maybe as they match up against Evan Ingram. And like you said, kind of a resurgence in the wide receiver room with Michael Pittman Jr. as well.
Yeah, and they have Josh Downs. I mean, you have Daniel Jones has weapons there, and Tyler Warren is just one of those guys that's going to continue to get better as a football player, and he's very dangerous, Keith. And this is the thing. I mean, I think this is going to have to be either a big Justin Strnad game defensively, being able to cover a guy like Tyler Warren, or a Talanoa Hufanga game where he's going to be asked to cover a guy like Tyler Warren and take him out of the game and shut him down. They're going to have to find a way. Tyler Warren's he's definitely very, very talented. I mean, his 6'6" frame, 257, I believe, is how much he weighs. I mean, he's a huge target downfield, very athletic, and go up and get the ball. Also, they like to use him in motion a lot, and also like to use him in the run game a little bit. So, I mean, they're going to have creative ways to use a guy like Tyler Warren. He's going to be a guy that you have to watch out for, but you cannot forget, about guys like Michael Pittman Jr. And guys like, obviously, we just mentioned Jonathan Taylor first and foremost for me, but Tyler Warren, I think, is probably right behind a guy like Jonathan Taylor, just because of his size and his frame and his speed and just how much he can impact a game. So I think this Broncos secondary is going to be tested this week, especially without Dre Greenlaw, who, I mean, obviously, their best covered inside linebacker.
Yeah, and I guess the best way to really put it is start making the comparisons, Trevor. I mean, last week we went up at home against a true rookie quarterback, a guy that, if you think about Daniel Jones in his rookie debut, you know what I mean? What are the expectations? A lot of nerves. Not going to be on page with all the time. You don't have the whole playbook opened up to you. Yada yada yada. Go on and on and on. Who's their running back? Tony Pollard. I mean, I'll be honest, it's been a long time since Tony Pollard has been at the top of anybody's fantasy football team running back list. Let's just put it that way. Okay. I don't have the fear of Tony Pollard like I do some running backs in this league. Turn the page. We're going on the road. Daniel Jones looks like he's turning the page. He's had a few years. He's had time to get his feet wet in the NFL. He's with a pretty good coach who knows what championship football looks like. He's got weapons like a Tyler Warren, like one of the best running backs out there, right? And Jonathan Taylor. It's a different beast when we go up against this team. And I just don't want us going in, even defensively, feeling like, oh, this is kind of like last week. No, I don't think this is anything like last week. This is a whole different beast. This is a whole different animal. And they're 1-0, and they're feeling pretty good about the way they put a licking on the Miami Dolphins. This is no time to be letting up. This defense needs to be that top 10, top 5 defense, Trevor, that you talked about. But they're not without holes and not without injuries. And so it is going to be a challenge. I don't think it's going to be an easy game versus this Colts. And I'm not going to sleep on Daniel Jones. I don't care about his past. Hey, we all know it just takes the right quarterback coach combination. Things start clicking. Look out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but Jonathan Taylor just worries me, Keith. I'll be honest. I mean, you're without Malcolm Roach too. This is the same defensive line that allowed him all those yards last season and almost allowed him that touchdown that, again, could have sealed that game last season for Denver. So, I mean, it just worries me. I mean, just the amount of depth you have up front. I mean, Wazirike, I get it. He dressed last week. We'll see if he dresses again this week, probably. DJ Jones is going to be tested early. Zach Allen, I mean, he's going to step up big time. I think they're going to try to get Jonathan Taylor going first and foremost, and then if they have to go to Daniel Jones, they will. But I think they're going to want to, pretty run heavy, game from this team, just because they can take guys like Pat Surtain and the Broncos secondary out of this game if they're able to run the ball, because now it opens up play action and opens up the field a little bit more if you can run the football effectively. So, I mean, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, this Colts team just has more weapons, Keith. That's just what it comes down to. I mean, last week you had Calvin Ridley that you had to worry about. I mean, and again, like Calvin Ridley, no disrespect to him at all. It's just the amount of weapons Daniel Jones has and this Colts offense has that it's really going to put the Denver Broncos defense to the test this week. Last week was your pre-test. game week 2 on the road against this kind of offense with the amount of talent and weapons they have around Daniel Jones. This is the real test to see if the Denver Broncos are up for the challenge of making the playoffs this season and winning playoff games. Because this is a playoff caliber game.
The judge weighed in. Roy Osborne said as well. Singleton broke his thumb again, just in a different spot. That's why he was out, working his way back. At least it's nothing different or nothing new. Thank goodness. Just get that thumb taken care of. It's a four horseman type of night, I guess. Kenny's coming in and saying, hello, horsemen. Hello, friends. Hello, posse. Best way to start off a Friday night right here with the best, Keith and Trevor. Kenny, appreciate you, buddy. And even if you need some autocorrect on your typing, we love you all the same, man. It's all good, man. I'll forage through all that and get your message to the masses there, my friend. Speaking of the masses, this guy gets out to the masses every now and then. Mr. Chad Jensen's jumping in on Facebook saying, sup, dudes? Good to see you, my friend. Talking a little bit of Broncos football. You might know something a little bit about that, but my friend, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in and maybe stopping in, listening to a few words and coming along for the ride. Yeah, up and down, man. I think there's going to be a big contest for this Denver Broncos team when it comes to the defense. It's going to be a big step up. Luckily, it is a 2:05 start time. Even Sean Payton said, hey, we're not setting the clocks any different. We're going to go out there, and it's just a 2:05 p.m. game. It's a late start. It's an oddity when you're heading out east, but we get to keep the clocks exactly the same, Trevor. And so hopefully that doesn't mess us up all that much. 1 day worth of travel, not 2 days out there early. And yeah, be looking forward to seeing what this defense can hopefully replicate. I mean, I don't know if a 6-sack, 12-point, 0 touchdown expectation is realistic, but it's a similar type of game that they'll have to try to play versus this Indianapolis Colts. I sure believe. Any last thoughts on the defense before we maybe hit our sponsor break? We'll get back onto this offense because there's plenty to talk about, obviously, when it comes to this offense versus this Indianapolis Colts defense as well.
I mean, and also another thing Keith just mentioned about the Broncos defense is, and let's kind of segue into the Broncos offense. Now, I'm not going to go there quite yet, but it's just how much time are they on the field, Keith? I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, having the amount of multiple turnovers, as to say, last week, I mean, just really can wear down on defense. And luckily, the Broncos defense were up for the task, and they were able to step up week 1. You can't rely upon that week in and week out. You've got to be able to take care of the football, and defensively, that a lot of that is, especially on the road, is take care of your body and be able to be out there for about as short amount of time as you possibly can be, and not be out there for long staying drives. That will wear down the defense. That's why I'm going to continue to say it. I expect the Colts to run the ball and ground and pound against the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to try to wear this defense down the best they possibly can. Jonathan Taylor has a history of doing that and putting up big games against the Broncos defense. Hopefully, the Denver Broncos defense can put a stamp on Jonathan Taylor and make Daniel Jones in this offense, a Colts offense, turn the football over and kind of get into Daniel Jones' head a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big test. It'll be interesting to see. I'll be honest, I see it a little bit different. I think they're going to run it through Daniel Jones and keep you honest with Jonathan Taylor. Or I think that sounds like for you, you're going to run it through Jonathan Taylor and keep you honest a little bit with Daniel Jones. So we'll see how that plays out, man. I'll be honest, man. Daniel Jones was slinging it pretty good. And I know that Kenny's in here laughing about us and talking about how Daniel Jones is the guy that trips over his own feet. I kind of made reference to that a little bit earlier about, he can take off and run. He might not make it all the way to the end zone, even if he's free and clear. But he can take off and run it as well. So he's got that aspect of his game. Not something to be overlooked, but the way our edges are playing this year, I feel pretty good about keeping him somewhat contained as far as a rollout is concerned. Rolling right into our sponsor, though, man. Morgan Trinkets is our amazing sponsor. They've been out there, selling Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and estate gold at wholesale prices for over 34 years. They once were nationwide, but now they just hang out in your backyard. Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming, doing shows left, right, and otherwise. It was just last week they were wrapping up the Greeley Dog Show, the 75th annual Greeley Dog Show, the 25th anniversary of Morgan Trinkets being there. But I understand, man. Maybe it's tough to get out to your fairgrounds. Maybe you don't have the weekends off. Maybe, just ain't your gig to head out to the fairgrounds. So you're more of an online type of person. Don't worry, we got y'all taken care of. Head on over to Etsy, type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. And there you are. You got everything that Pearl has to offer, including silver, sterling silver, 100% sterling silver. She has that as well. All orders over $50 are shipped absolutely free. All major credit cards are accepted. Check out Morgan Trinkets if you're into Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold, wholesale prices with over 34 years experience. Almost guarantee they're one of the best out there, and you won't be disappointed. We're never disappointed. Morgan Trinkets, you're an amazing sponsor as well as retailer out there. Keep going at it. Love you, Pearl. Love to see a few things maybe different on offense compared to week one, Trevor. I'm going to probably put a few things out there out on the Facebook world as far as a poll is concerned regarding this. But what are you looking for to change the most about this Denver Broncos offense as they head on the road to take on, like I said, a very elevated team after they came out firing in week one?
I mean, not be sloppy, first and foremost. I mean, I think this offense was very sloppy last week, Keith. I mean, it wasn't just the turnovers. It was just the play clock left and right. And Sean Payton admitting that again, like two seasons now. I mean, with Bo Nix, I mean, you're a guy. There's no reason to get that play call in that late to him. He's got to get to the line and make a line adjustments. You see it when the play is in on time, Keith. You see Bo Nix up to the line and making adjustments. Maybe he switches a play because he sees a different formation. It's very, very important for Sean Payton to get the play in as quick as he possibly can. He's got to be sharper about that. He's a veteran play caller in this league. You cannot, and he knows that, you cannot continue to get the play call in as late as he has. I think that's something that kind of gets overlooked at times when it comes to making Bo Nix's life a little bit easier. But also, again, the turnovers. I mean, Bo Nix has got to stop, trying to be or trying to do too much. I think Bo Nix really tried to do too much last week, Keith. I think that's a big reason for the turnovers. I think he'll calm down as the season continues to go forward. But really, and we all say this, you got to get some sort of run game going. I don't expect the Broncos to go out there and rush for 150 yards on Sunday. All I'm saying is establish some sort of run game so you can open up the passing game a little bit, open up play action a little bit. It can't just always be about Bo Nix throwing the ball 40 times. We've talked about this time and time again, week in and week out. You've got to have some sort of run game. At this point, I'm not looking for it to be an elite run game. You just need a little, at least even average, I think would really help Bo Nix and take some pressure off of him, Keith. So really need this Denver Broncos offense just to clean things up. Penalties, got to clean those up as well. No fault. I mean, limit those penalties as much as possibly can. And you got to have long, sustained drives to keep your defense fresh as possible as they take on this talented Colts offense. So really, Keith, for me, big point is clean it up. Don't be so sloppy this week.
I'll jump back in a second. I see there's a few questions about the defense as well, as we've just kind of wrapped up on that, and I don't want to miss out on it. But I want to hit Martin here real quick. He says, how good of a pass rush do the Colts have? He goes, because Simmons for the Titans was beating, us last week, beating the double teams, everything, So, yes, I would agree. They don't have a Simmons. They're not at that level on the defensive line, but this is what they do, Martin. And this is what I saw. They're really good at disguising. Sean Payton talked about it. Their cornerback, he can come and he can blitz, and they send him. Their safety, he can blitz, and they send him. And then they do this all at the line. Who's going to bail out? It kind of reminds me, I remember seeing it for the first time, really just messed up teams when Bill Belichick did it with the Patriots. And everybody's up at the line. And thinking, oh my gosh, well, I got to check into a pass. There's no way I can run against this. And then Bill Belichick would send like 2, 3, and everyone would just drop back into coverage. And then you're back there trying to pass, and there's there's just no way there's no window, there's not a guy open. That's the type of defense that they play. They don't have that elite pass rusher, or at least not a big baller like you saw in Simmons that'll just eat you up in the middle. They'll have some guys that can get after you, and they have some guys, corner, safety, linebacker. They have guys, but it's how they disguise it. It's how they attack you. And it's about how you pick up. Sean Payton was talking about it in his presser today. If you missed it, I'll put it together in a small package if I can. You get up there. They bring up everybody in the pocket. So you go ahead and you say, I think they're coming on the right. So you slide your protection right. You check into a right package. Well, if they know that, they're just going to come from the left. And if you switch it to the left, they're going to come from the right. And they're just going to bail out on the other side. And that's the type of games you have to play. And that's the type of, time that you just talked about, Trevor, where it can't be sloppy, that they're going to have to manage with Bo Nix. He can't go up there with 0 time on the clock and just have to snap the ball without being able to at least look over that defense and be able to make an adjustment or two. Let alone if the guys are lined up on the wrong side or whatever it happens to be. Got to clean things up. Can't be sloppy. That's what I see, Martin, as far as this defense. It's not top level, but it's how they disguise it, what they do with it, that it makes it obviously difficult for Tua and the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniels in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think their defensive line up front, Keith, is solid, but I agree with you. I don't think they have an elite pass rusher. Leatu Latu, time will tell if he can develop into be that guy. He certainly has. I think it's some sort of skill level as along the side of Nick Bonito, where he's just really a solid speed rusher. As far as getting after the quarterback, the sacks just haven't came his way yet. I wonder down the line, though, Keith, if that does come for Leatu Latu, I think he's probably got the best potential to be that elite edge rusher for this Colts team. But, I mean, DeForest Buckner, you have Grover Stewart, really good in the run game. They'll shock you in the pass game, though. They'll push up front, and they'll give your offensive line a test. I mean, don't get me wrong. And also think the two big things in this game, or I should say one big thing from the Colts defense standpoint, is they're without their starting corner, Tre'Davious Ward, and then with the Jalen Jones being out as well. 2 guys in their secondary they're without. So this defense, I mean, talk about the Broncos defense and what they're dealing with from an injury standpoint with Dre Greenlaw being out. So is this Colts defense. They're kind of banged up a little bit, so something to keep an eye on. But to answer Martin's question, yeah, they don't have an elite pass rusher, but don't overlook this defensive front that the Colts have.
Yeah, I was going to find the comment because you're absolutely right. One of the questions was, and I was going to see if I could see it, how do we take advantage of that? Because they do have a couple of corners. Basically, they're out. Tre'Davious Ward are banged up, and Jalen. How are you, if you're Sean Payton and you see that scenario on the field, especially since, the guy who's backing him up and the guy who's questionable is coming back with a hamstring. It was Jody the Judge. Need to expose those Colts for having that starting cornerback down. What are your thoughts on that, man? Is that an opportunity for that we should target right off the bat? I know that you were talking about, maybe getting this run game going versus the Indianapolis Colts, but Bo Nix be able to pick up and pick on these cornerbacks, I guess.
I fully expect Bo Nix to be throwing the ball quite a bit in this game. I mean, I think that's just how Sean Payton's in line with Bo Nix. He loves to put the ball in Bo Nix's hands, and especially with 2 cornerbacks out in the secondary for the Colts, I think we'll see Bo Nix throw a good amount of time. My thing is, Keith, I just want to see more of a balanced attack, closer to, from a pass and run standpoint. I want to see that gap close a little bit. I don't want it to be 40 pass attempts and about, 10 run attempts. Like, that's just, the balance is just never there. I think if you can give this Broncos offense a real opportunity and really get that, kind of establish that run game. You've seen it against the Tennessee Titans as the game kind of trickled on down. You've seen J.K. Dobbins kind of get loose a little bit. You've seen R.J. Harvey get loose a little bit. Hopefully that's signs of good things to come. That can open up the passing game even more. You like what you see from Bo Nix when he's on and he's not turning the football over from a passing standpoint. Imagine if you can get some sort of run game going. You can really do a lot with Bo Nix, and Bo Nix can do even more so, I think, with his legs as well.
I like that, man. I think that I'd love to get this run game going. I mean, you were talking about sloppy, getting, not being sloppy earlier. One of the things that we need to see maybe on the offensive side, for me, it's just better play calling. Sean Payton has talked about it. He criticized himself once again post game after this week 1 victory. That he's got to get better. He's a tenured coach. He can coach better than what he coached this last week. Part of it was, I think the run versus pass. I think part of it was also just the targets that guys got. He was asked about Pat Bryant and his utilization in this offense, especially when it came to Trent Sherfield in comparison. I think that mix is going to change when we see this offense hit the field versus the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday. I also think that, and he was asked about Evan Ingram and, the number of targets he got. And that's something that they can, like he said, you can make a guy your number one in a play and try to get him targets and force him basically the ball. And I wouldn't be surprised, or I would expect to see Evan Ingram more involved in this game as well. It's a place where you can kind of get after this Indianapolis Colts defense, I think, is in the middle. It'll be interesting to see. Devon Achane actually had a pretty good day out there versus this Indianapolis Colts team. And he didn't have that many opportunities, obviously, given the score. And I'm not just talking about his receptions because he's a receiving running back as well. But it'll be interesting to see what we can do between the tackles with this running game versus this Indianapolis Colts, because I think there is opportunity there. I want to be able to turn the page, Trevor. It's been too many years about not really having a good quality running game. Mm-hmm. And if we can turn that page and all of a sudden we have a dominant style of running game that can go out there and get you wins on a Sunday, something that I don't think this team has been able to turn to in quite some time and say, just get the rock to that guy. We can get a win this Sunday. It's been a while. It feels like it's a Terrell Davis been a while type of feel since I really felt confident that way. But, to have a good quality run game that Bo Nix can rely on, that this team can rely on, I think can spring itself into action versus this Indianapolis Colts, and it might be the first opportunity to do so. I think it's also really imperative, as you kind of alluded to earlier, Bo Nix needs to settle down. I think he was, quote unquote, the term was pushing. Seemed like he was really pushing in that game 1 to make plays. He wasn't loose. He wasn't relaxed. He was pushing the entire game. The run game is only going to help that. I think that's going to be a big key in this game. I don't know. I know that you just spoke of it as well, but RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, I'd love to see RJ Harvey go off just because what I saw from Achane. Mm-hmm. He has a very similar type of game in my opinion. So I think there's opportunity there.
Well, and I think Keith also too. RJ Harvey's got to start seeing the field a little bit more. I get it was week 1, and I understand. I mean, his pass blocking, he may have some issues with that, but you drafted this guy in the 2nd round. You didn't draft him in the 2nd round for him to sit on the bench, and you damn sure didn't draft him in the 2nd round for Tyler Badie and J.K. Dobbins to play over him. I mean, you invested in this guy. Sean Payton in this running back room, there's the excuses are starting to run out with this running back room. He went out there. You got your guy in the 2nd round, quote unquote, your guy in the 2nd round. Time to use him. Time to put him out there. I mean, he's a running back. We are talking about running backs having short leashes. RJ Harvey's got to be out there, on Sunday. I start seeing the field a little bit more. He was explosive when he was out there. In this running back room, Keith, RJ Harvey has the most upside of all the running backs. It's not even close. He needs to be out on the field. But the best way for RJ Harvey to improve as a pass blocker and as a player is for him to be out on the field, not watching film, not watching from the sidelines. He needs to be on the field, helping Bo Nix and helping this Broncos offense turn the page and really start being proud and being able to kind of hoist your chest up a little bit and say, hey, we have a run game now. Try to stop this. It's not just about Bo Nix, not just about stopping Bo Nix. You're going to stop me and this running game. That's kind of mindset that RJ Harvey needs to have, and that's the kind of mindset Sean Payton needs to have. I know he likes to use multiple running backs, and that is fine. And he really prioritizes having a running back that is really good in pass pro. But you got to be able to put RJ Harvey out there on the field. I can't emphasize that enough. When he's out there, he's explosive, and he's by far your most explosive running back that you have and has the highest upside. I got to see more RJ Harvey on Sunday.
Whew. Man, I thought I was an RJ Harvey fan, man. Trevor sounds like the biggest fan of all, man, with that tear right there. I know you're right, man. You went out there, you got him, you said he's your guy, the guy that you really wanted. You went out there, you targeted, you passed over other guys. RJ Harvey, I think, has a fantastic skill set, and you need to see it sooner than later. J.K. Dobbins isn't your future, and I see Kenny saying don't sleep on Tyler Bidet. Even Sean Payton said, it's tough to feed 3 running backs. Got to get it to 2. He's been harping on that for a while. It's J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, and R.J. Harvey needs to take that over. Kenny wanted to ask a question real quick, and maybe this will kick off maybe a segment. I'm not really sure. He says, can I ask a defensive question? Spy on Daniel Jones or no spy on Daniel Jones? What are your thoughts on spying on Daniel Jones? Because he does have some legs, like we talked about.
Yes, he has. He definitely has some legs. But I would go with no spy to start the game and kind of see how your defensive line can withstand Daniel Jones and if you can keep him in the pocket. I mean, Daniel Jones, I think he's a better athlete than what people give him credit for, but I don't think he's no Lamar Jackson, to put that out there a little bit. But it's something you got to watch for sure. I mean, you really do. I mean, don't be surprised that Daniel Jones takes off on you and he's able to get a first down. I mean, that's just he's not just a pocket passing quarterback. He can also get out and run, but I don't think that he's got the athleticism that I'm like, I got to put a spy on him quarter 1. I think throughout the game, that might be a halftime adjustment, to be honest, depending on what happens. Is if Daniel Jones is getting outside of the pocket and he's starting to run and, make plays, then I think you got to have that conversation about putting a spy on him in the second half. But to start the game, no spy for me on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement. I think with the way this defense plays and the way they play wide open, that doesn't necessarily necessitate a spy. You're expecting a guy like Alex Singleton, Talanoa Hufanga to be there if Daniel Jones escapes. That's your relief, and you're not necessarily spying him. It's just the guy that needs to pick him up in coverage. You know what I mean? It is what it is, Trevor, and I expect that to be the case as well. Maybe you'll see it from time or two. I know a lot of people dropped it in early, but man, we're getting to it, man. And I think it's time we start really talking about how we expect this game to really play out and a final score. So no better way to do it than with the old.
Let's go.
Trevor, here it is, man. Let's get down to it, man. End of this diagnosis of this team. I think that even Jody was questioning what we thought about or what we were doing when we were tearing apart this Denver Broncos offense, defense, maybe even propping up the Indianapolis Colts and what they were able to do in week 1. He dropped in and said, this is a joke, right? But no joking now, man. The posse, I need you now. I need you more than ever. I want you to weigh back in, even if you did it at the very, very top. Time to come back in and talk about how you think this game is going to go and a final score prediction. We're going to get one on the books from me and Trevor as well. Trevor, how do you expect this game to go? And like I said, give me your final score. What do you expect as far as a 1-1 team and a 2-0 team, I guess?
I mean, I think it's going to be a tough battle dot game, no doubt. I don't think it's going to be like when you watch the Broncos against the Titans, Keith, you kind of knew, you had that feeling like, okay, Broncos are probably going to pull this one out. But I don't think the Colts and Tennessee Titans are on the same level, and I feel the same way. Certainly from my perspective on this game, I think it's going to be a tough game. And Keith, I think this is a team that you got to be able to beat if you're the Denver Broncos. Though, if you are a team that is ready for the playoffs and you're ready to win playoff games, you need to make your mark out there and go get a big win on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. You have the Chargers and you have the Cincinnati Bengals coming up in the next couple weeks after. You got to be able to get this one on the road, Keith, and start 2-0 on the season. I'm back and forth, Keith. I'm not going to lie in this game. And that's a Denver Bronco win or not. This offense worries me. It really does. I think with Tre'Davious Ward being out, that kind of helps ease it a little bit because that's a secondary that I think clearly has some issues right now. I mean, I think if you're the Broncos offense, you can take advantage of that for sure. I think this is actually a little bit of a worse secondary than you went up against last week, in my opinion. I think this is a low-scoring game, Keith. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go – ooh, man, this is tough. I'm going to go 17-14. I think the Broncos squeak one out in Indianapolis. I think you have to. It's going to be low-scoring. It might get ugly at times. But as long as you get a win on the road, however you do, I think you do. The next couple games, I'm not so sure I'm very confident about if this offense can't get going. But this game, I think the Broncos defense is good enough that you can squeak by and still be able to get a win again against the Indianapolis Colts. 17-14. Broncos get a win on the road, and they're 2-0 to start the season.
All right. One last request while I kind of go off on my side of things, and to the posse as well. Want you to start thinking about player of the game on offense, player of the game on defense, if you had to name one. That was a special request from Kenny Kirkpatrick before we ever went live. So people get it in for Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. That's a courtesy of him. Pearl saying it'll be close. 24-21 win for the Denver Broncos. Jody, not thinking it'll be close. Looking for the blowout. Looking for that. Hey, you said go out there. They need to go out there. They need to make a statement. They need to get right. No better way to get right and head into a tough tear than feeling good about a 42-10 victory on the road. Like the confidence from Jody Moncrief. I'll be honest, man. I think he almost stole my my prediction there. And that's okay, man. I'll adjust. I'll adjust on the fly because I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a tough game. I'll go even lower. I'll go 13-14. Denver Bronco victory.
Wow.
Coming down to the wire. This Denver Broncos defense, I think, can show up and they can hold it, that low. A touchdown, a couple of field goals. Not much from Will Lutz in this one. Couple of touchdowns get it done. Heck, it might even be special teams and defense. They get it done. You know what? I'd love to see this Denver Broncos get on the page of what Jody's saying. I'd love to see them just go off and go out versus this Indianapolis Colts team. I don't, till I see it, I'm not going to believe it, I guess is the best way to put it, Trevor. And I know that they had a better performance last week. I think that the Indianapolis Colts will be able to advance the ball more. I don't think you're going to get nearly as many turnovers. I don't think that you'll have the opportunities of short fields that'll give you opportunities like we saw for the Denver Broncos last week. I think they'll play a fantastic game. I think it'll be one of those edge of your seat games, man. But I'll give the Denver Broncos the win until I hear otherwise. That's no faith right there. Oh, man, I love the faith that I have in the Denver Broncos, man. But I got to have a little bit of see it too, man. Karen, I know that you can be my worst critic, but let's face it. Bo Nix did not look very good in week 1. And it's a new offense. It's a zone scheme. They need to make adjustments. They left guys unblocked coming at Bo Nix that, I think that they thought they could fool, and they weren't fooling anybody. They need to make adjustments in the play calling, the play design, Bo Nix's play. That's a lot to ask, and they're heading on the road. I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to try to attempt to put them up there at 42 points like the Judge. I love it, Judge. Go out there. I hope that happens to be the case. Maybe it's a lot of short fields for this Broncos team, but I'm gonna keep it close. But I'm gonna keep it with a Denver Broncos victory because I do believe they do have the wherewithal to gut out a win like that, and I think that says a lot about a team that didn't used to be able to do that. I still giving them the victory. For the record, Karen saying I said 24-17 earlier feels like a safe zone. Like and yeah, I think you're could be absolutely right. All right, and I'm checking to see if there's any more scores, any more final thoughts before we get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Keith, for me, I agree with you with the offense. I think it's going to take this offense a little bit to get going. I don't think in 2 weeks this offense is going to be able to put 42 points up. I mean, maybe they'll surprise me, but I think this offense is just going to take some time to get everything intact, and that's fine if you can squeak out wins. Because down the road, when this offense does get going, it can make your team that much better. This defense is going to have to step up in a big way. They're going to have to get turnovers against Daniel Jones. That's why I say make Daniel Jones beat you. You don't want a Jonathan Taylor game if you want a Denver Bronco victory in this one. Because once that happens, you start opening up the defense, and then now that allows Daniel Jones to kind of do his magic, get outside the pocket, and get other guys involved. So turnovers, I think, also are going to be a big thing for this Bronco defense in this game that I feel like is going to have to be pretty big in order to get a victory.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I see that Roy's throwing a little shade towards the Judge as we're getting out of here. He says Joe doesn't even know what he's talking about. I'll be honest. If anybody would have predicted the Indianapolis Colts putting the licking on the Miami Dolphins in Week 1 the way they did, they would have said, "You don't even know what you're talking about." Not to that extent. Not to the whooping that they end up putting on them. And a 42-10 feels very similar. You just don't know any given Sunday. At some point, this Denver Broncos team, I do feel is going to get in line, on pace, and they're going to start putting up some points. We're going to have some amazing offensive performances throughout the year. But just might not be Week 2. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jody's right. 19-16 says Kenny Kirkpatrick. And one other thing, I guess, I'll let that go. I was going to say, there's a few other guys on the Indianapolis Colts that were working through some injuries as well throughout the week. We might be able to take advantage there as well. We're going to take advantage of wrapping up just about on time. Trevor, any final thoughts before we get out of here, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason to be worried, I think. Last week, Keith, I mean, we talked about it post-game. The Titans had 13 penalties for 131 yards. That's a lot of penalties. The Colts last week against the Miami Dolphins, 4 penalties for 45 yards. So this is what I'm getting at is this is a team that's well disciplined. This is not the Tennessee Titans. They're not going to just give away penalties and give away yards. That's just what it is. It's the reality of the situation. I do think that this Broncos defense is good enough to squeak by and get a road victory and a big one. So it was a little bit tougher for me to pick the Broncos this week. I'm not going to lie, and it might be going forward if this offense can't get going. Because if this offense plays like they did last week, Keith, it might be a long day for this Denver Broncos team. You cannot be able to sustain that offense to be able to sustain what they did last week and be able to have victories going forward. Got to clean it up offensively for me. That's a number one most important thing for this team to do this week. Got to clean it up. All the woes on the offense side of the ball. But Keith, I want to thank everybody in our posse for watching, whether you're watching live or after the fact. We really appreciate it, and we can't wait to do post game right after the game and get your reactions. So just a huge thank you, huge shout out to our posse for being as amazing as they are, for liking, sharing, subscribing, because we really have a lot of content here, and we really work really very hard, I should say, to get this all out to you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll see everybody Sunday. Have a great weekend, and as always, go Broncos.
You're not getting out of here quite yet. We forgot about our players of the game, man. So I'm going to name mine real quick. I'll go defense first. I think Talanoa Hufanga is going to have a huge game once again. I think there's enough reason to rely on him, whether it's coming up on Jonathan Taylor, whether it's, going after Daniel Jones, whether it's patrolling in the back. I think that if I had to pick one, defense is going to be Talanoa Hufanga. On offense, I'll go Evan Ingram. Even though he's coming back from injury. I think that there's opportunities over the middle of this defense. I think that we need a second target other than Cortland Sutton. And I think that, obviously Evan Ingram could be that reliable piece for Bo Nix as he gets things started in week 2 and really gets rolling. So I'm going to go Evan Ingram on offense, Talanoa Hufanga on defense. Who do you have for offensive, defensive players of the game?
Defensive player of the game for me is going to be Nick Bonito. I think that he's going to go out there and get in Daniel Jones's face immediately. I think this is going to be a multiple sack game for Nick Bonito. I'd say 2 to 3 sacks in this game that he gets, and possibly a fumble as well after he gets to Daniel Jones, possible fumble recovery as well. So I think this is going to be a good game for Nick Bonito and this Broncos pass rush to be able to get in Daniel Jones's face. And then offensively, here we go. You put me on the spot, Keith. You know what? I'm going to say it may not be the most flashiest performance, but I think Bo Nix bounces back this week. I think he has less turnovers for the Denver Broncos, which is going to be very critical in this week. I think Bo Nix at least has a 2-touchdown game for the Denver Broncos, and that goes along with my score prediction, 17-14. I think Denver Broncos at least get 2 touchdowns offensively, and I think Bo Nix is a big part of that. I think he cleans it up this week.
I love it, man. That's the steps we want to take, man. I know that me and you can get on here and sometimes be the harshest on this Denver Broncos team.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It's out of love, and it's out of, honestly, just being honest with ourselves, man. We go back, we look at tape. I mean, I went through that all 22. Mm-hmm. I watched this Indianapolis Colts team and what they were able to do in week 1. I know what winning does for confidence, and that the Colts are going to have some confidence in this game. I'm going to pull out a victory for this Denver Broncos team. I think it can get a lot better after this, honestly. I think if you go 2-0, and like you were talking about, hopefully, offensive player of the game, Bo Nix, turns it around. Look out, man. It's from there, it could really take off. Karen was asking how many wins before a loss. I really hate to predicate that because it is a week-to-week league. But, you start rattling them off, and pretty soon it's tough not to. Mm-hmm. You start getting that confidence. Let's just put it that way. Mm-hmm. 2 become 3, 3 become 4, 4 becomes 5. Next thing you know, you're sitting there at 8-0. There's a lot of expectations, but there's also a lot of confidence in what you're doing at that point. And obviously the team's off and running. It'll be a tough schedule ahead. We'll be out here post game talking about this big matchup, big AFC matchup. This could have repercussions down the line. So not one to overlook. I know it's not an AFC West matchup, but those AFC matchups down the road when we start talking about seeding and playoffs, and if you don't having won your division, fingers crossed. That's what Sean Payton wants, win this division. That's what we'd like to do. But if not, man, big game. We'll be talking about it post game on Sunday, right after the game. Of course, we have multiple shows. I'll just run through them really quick. The Morning Juice, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Monday, and then Wednesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. And don't forget about the post-game shows. We always love to get your reactions and go live whenever we possibly can. Sometimes those late games, we're not going to keep you up. We'll go after that. So best way to do it, make sure you're hitting that like, share, subscribe button. That subscribe button's the big one in there. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Take us on the go if you want. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Can't wait to sit down and watch this Denver Broncos team. So head off to Indianapolis. Let's go 2-0. 2-0, baby. 2-0. We can get it all wrapped up. But we're going to get out here the way we always do. Make sure you keep your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next time, till Sunday. Can't wait to see you again. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.
go.